professional, two-time President Club winner, and dedicated trainer. Currently an Atlanta resident, which that's awesome. Made the trip, man. I love it. Good to have you back up here. We saw you several months ago. He averages 50,000 miles on the road each year, so you're a traveler. I like it. Has read 100 books in the last 2 years. A reader. He knows his stuff. I like that. And still manages to be an active Toastmaster. I think, Blaine, you're a Toastmaster, right? That's great. Big life changes start with a small idea. I can and I will. Here to share them on mindset and success is Bruce Hill.
Thank you, sir. All right. Glenn, you got the Facebook Live going?
Got it.
Fantastic, fantastic. You all, let me start off by saying thank you. I have so much gratitude that you have your attendance today, all the places and things you could be doing, that I have your attention today, and your participation. Wait for that part. So, let me see. I'm going to try and record this here. I move around a lot, so we'll see how that goes. So, the first thing, I do appreciate, even while you're eating, your participation. Whenever I speak, I don't want to talk to you. I want to speak with you. All right? So, whenever I point to my head, I ask you to respond, say, I can, from down here. Whenever I point to my heart, I want you to say, I will. Okay, let's give that a test run, shall we?
I can.
I will. You see, when I hit President's Club, actually, let's go back to the year before. I was the worst salesman in the building. Not even on my team. I was so good at being bad. I was the worst on every team. Okay? And there were other people selling. The product was phenomenal. The prices were reasonable. Why wasn't I selling? I had to decide, first of all.
I can.
Jody, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Let's try it one more time. I had to decide.
I can.
But just because it's possible doesn't mean we really are going to take the time, energy, or effort to do it. We could all, if we decided to, be pretty good guitar players. Go out on Broadway on Friday nights, pick up a few extra bucks from the tourists. Who wants to do that, right? So that's where the second step came in. When I committed, when I made the decision that I will. So I went from I can.
I will.
And this is what I want to share with you. The challenge when I speak to groups with so much experience and tenure in their fields and their industries, I say, what can I bring to the table? What can I possibly teach them that they don't already know? So I decided, instead of trying to impress you with what I know, let's take what you already know and let's be purposeful about it. Let's start to be intentional about it. So there's a lot of things that you know you can, but has anybody got to help me out? I will. And that's the transition we're going to make today. So each and every one of you is in different industries. There's some overlap, but there's two things that each and every one of you have in common. There's two things that each and every one of you accomplish every time you successfully help a client. Your mind's going, Over the years, as I travel and speak with different groups, I saw a pattern. And as we go through today, I'm going to talk about different things I've learned and picked up. I'll share with you. Some you may know. Some may be brought back to your memory. Some might be an aha moment. We're going to talk about my personal philosophy, my business philosophy, and we're going to wrap up with SMART goals. Who's familiar with SMART goals? Good, good, good. So we're not starting from scratch. When we go into 2020, I want you guys to have a head start. So let's go back to my business philosophy. In each and every one of you, do one of two things. First, you add value. You add value. So this gentleman's teaching a workshop on LinkedIn, and he's going to help people with those 6 steps to getting new clients. That's adding value. Or you might solve a problem. My buddy Larry here behind the camera solves a problem. Our stuff is in our house, and we want it to stay there. Right? So with ADS Security, he helps solve a problem. friend Joni, Isogenics, she adds value. She helps people live a higher quality of life. Am I making sense to anybody?
Yes.
Okay. I told you I want to talk to myself. I want to have a conversation with you. So when you all wake up in the morning, it's a very simple challenge for you. Ask yourself, how can I add value? What problem can I solve today? As you approach your business and personal life that way, you'll start to see them elevate. All right? So help me out again.
I can. I will.
Right? So I can add value and I will solve problems. Now, a lot of you go face to face. How many of you use the phones to reach out to clients or prospects? Okay, so let's talk phones for a second. And this goes to your elevator speech as well, which we'll talk about next. So your, what do you call it?
Commercial,
60
business
second.
commercial.
Your commercial,
Elevator
your
pitches.
60-second commercial. Slow down. Slow down. It'll feel a little strange at first, but Rob did a great job of this. I think he naturally speaks at that pace. It took me almost 8 years to get it right. Because all right, don't hate me. Where's, oh, Rob, you're from Michigan. I was born in Ohio. Rob and I are good friends already. I speak really, really fast naturally. I had to slow down. Think of it this way. I'm adding value. I'm solving problems. What I have to say is important. I don't want anyone to miss a word. So we're going to slow down. So when you're talking with people, there's three things. Appreciate you taking notes, Steve. There's three things to accomplish. I want to know as much as I can about my customer or my future customer. That's number one. I firmly believe if you let someone talk enough about their problems and what value they're looking for, you won't have to sell them. They'll say, hey, you know what? How do I sign up? And some of you in the back of your mind may remember that happening. There's something very magical that happens when the prospect does most of the talking. So that's number one. Find out everything you can about your client. Ask open-ended questions. Those questions that start with who, what, where, when, and why. You know those. We call them discovery questions. The close-ended questions, the yes or no questions, are for confirmation. Do you have any questions? Does this sound like it's a good fit for you? You want to start nodding their head. If we can, this is one of my favorite questions. If we can add value or solve a problem for you, would you consider doing business with us? That's it. We call that the obvious yes. Does anyone use an obvious yes when they're talking to clients? Get them nodding their head. So number two is know your product or service. That's obvious, but I've met some terrible salespeople along the way. I know, I was one of them. Know your product or service. So let's take our friends at Liberty Financial. Did I get that title right? There's two things that they did were fantastic. She knew her rates to the 10th of a percentage. She knew her products. One thing I would have loved to hear her say is like, hey, if I could help save you money or make you more money, do you think we could have a conversation? Janet, I bet you a lot of people will say yes to that question. Because they're going to ask you, what are they going to ask? Well, how do you do that? You know what? I'm glad that you asked. That's what you want. You want them interested. So then you start talking about your product service. After you figure out what they need, after you figure out what their problem is, I'll tell you a story. When I was selling